Welcome to the Tomorrow Zone Catalyst podcast. I'm your host, Deborah Rubin. This conversation is part of our series, Future Shaping Leaders. And it's inspired by my new book, Enter the Tomorrow Zone: How to Inspire Breakthrough Innovation and Shape Your Future. In this series, we're exploring how senior leaders are thinking and leading when they are responsible for shaping the future in complex organizations and markets. These are focused conversations with executives making consequential decisions, allocating budget, navigating structural complexity. Today's conversation features Steve Seiler, Senior Vice President and Chief Technology Officer at Northmill Equipment Finance. He has nearly 2 decades of experience leading technology transformation across finance, private credit, and complex M&A environments. From founding an early-stage video streaming startup to building platforms at AIG, advancing data and machine learning at William Blair, and leading enterprise-wide technology strategy at Eldridge Industries, Steve brings a grounded perspective on turning complexity into momentum. So, Steve, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
It's really good to reconnect with you. It was fun to see you a few weeks ago in Nashville for the Innovation Lab with Ela Fay, but also the AI Forum.
I keep coming back to this industry just because I love it. I mean, the connections that you make, the problems that you're trying to solve, and it's so ripe for transformation. It very much is at the core of what it is a part of my career.
How did it feel coming back? Because
it felt great. It was one of the considerations last summer when I was deciding on this position to be able to dust off those relationships. Got a couple calls as I was being vetted, which was kind of fun to be like, oh, hi, haven't talked to you in a couple months or a couple years or whatever it was. And I'm excited at this opportunity to be at Northmill and have transformational change here. They've gotten to this point just by having great people and grit and good process and relationships and that sort of thing, and looking to amp that up to 11.
Awesome. I love that. Yes. On a scale of 1 to 10, we're going to crank it up to 11. Well, I'm going to crank up my curiosity to an 11 on a scale of 1 to 10. And before we dive in too deep, could you just share, you talked about kind of your transition into Northmill and back into the industry, and I'm so glad you're back. But just kind of give us a 30,000 feet big picture of the work that you're leading and the strategic focus behind it.
Sure. So it breaks down to a few different parts. So one of the growth modes that Northmill is going to do over the next several years is portfolio acquisition. So that helps us inorganically grow, but along with that comes with other systems, people, processes, and that sort of thing that may not have aligned with how Northmill has functioned previously. So there's this opportunity to take the best of each organization that comes together and essentially like level up that ability and capability, both from a process perspective, but also from a technology perspective too. Then also there's a component of the historical Northmill of the way they've done things over a period of time. And some people, I don't want to say people get stuck, but people get used to doing the same thing over and over again. And we have this opportunity to look at the platforms and systems that we've built over the last 10 plus years and look at any technical debt that is in there and basically be able to restructure does that satisfy our needs over the next 5 to 7 years. So there's this like component of like rebuilding a foundation of how we operate and how we work and can we do it better. And then there's also this once in a lifetime paradigm shift in the market where you have this AI enhanced, AI augmented transformation and being basically like like holding onto that train that's barreling down the tracks as much as you can to be able to harness the capability set that now exists with that opportunity. So
I love
it's
so
super
much
exciting.
the way that you're thinking about this. And actually, this is the first time I ever heard of anybody talking about restructuring technical debt. And I think
It's
that really
it's a
resonates in
it's
an
a really
industry
good
like
opportunity.
ours. But yeah, what a powerful way to think about it. I can tell you're thinking so differently, and it's not just about. I mean, the traditional. It's already traditional. It's only been 3 years since, ChatGPT sprang onto the scene, but so many people are asking, what should we be doing about AI? Where should we use AI? But I think you're leveling up the question, like who can we become because of the new
There was
advances?
this in the last few weeks alone. I'm taking a look at whatever our project list is, and it's like, well, the team member requested this. Sure, we can build a screen for data entry, which is what they wanted to request to like solve an issue that they were having. But I can also walk down a parallel path and also provide them with that AI enabled augmentation of their work at the same time. So, yes, I can give you your screen, but also I can give you like that 2 hours that you're going to check boxes. Like, does this match that? Um, I can essentially save you 85% of the time of doing that at the same time and give you your screen.
This is such a new way of thinking too, and it's only possible because of the capabilities that we can take advantage with, when it comes to AI, but also it requires thinking different like you are. I was just I'm deep in reading several studies, and one that I was reading, the thing that really stood out to me is, what if we have always thought about the friction as the work,
Mm-hmm.
and AI is enabling us to completely reshape and redefine what work is. So, your person who, like, oh, I want a screen. Well, actually, why do you need that screen? Oh, because we have to do. Why do you need to do this? Okay, but why that? And what we discover is that whole job was just friction that can now be eliminated. And what if we reshape what you're doing with more purpose and meaning?
And the business users where the light bulb goes off is very fun. So one of the things, like you're talking about goals, how do we facilitate that? One of the things that I want to accomplish this summer of like my own personal goals is to host a hackathon here and be able to take those operational items that people are handling with on their daily lives, the friction, like you're talking about, and can I partner them with like a technology person or two and a developer to be able to come up with a holistic solution within a very short period of time, just as a proof of concept, get people really jazzed and excited about how AI can augment their work. Because a lot of people are fearful right now about it as well. As like, if you're using AI, are you going to get rid of my job? And my point of view is no, we're going to make your job easier and you're going to be able to do more with the same amount of resourcing that you currently have. So it's not it's going to replace you type of discussion. It is, how can it enhance that workflow? But also, if you think about it, taking a step back from a career perspective, the people that are engaging with the usage of these tools are going to have more longevity and more opportunity throughout their career if they get experience here. And like that, it's a different conversation of just North Mill versus the livelihood of people throughout their entire career that you then think through. And that's another way that I approach it, because you always have to include that human element of it too. And like, this role here today is temporary. Yes, we want them to add value. Yes, we want our employees to stay, but also you have to look at what opportunity set exists for people in the future.
Absolutely. So I love how you're thinking as a leader, and I want to dive into a little bit of that thinking with you, Steve. So, what sparked your commitment to this challenge that you're working on, and why does it matter to you at a strategic level?
if I didn't want to do this, or if I didn't start doing this, I would I would feel like we missed the opportunity for change. And um, I need to be able to inspire people now of that possibility and have them start to engage with this now. So much has changed within the last 2 months that you have to harness the capability set. And like when earlier in my career, when there was a fundamental change on one of the platforms that I was developing on, I was one of the first team, I led one of the first teams that essentially made that transformation. And it kind of set up my point of view in the future to be able to carry on that capability set, next thing and the next thing and the next thing. So I want to be able to provide that for all of our too.
I love that. I love the holistic, um, just the holistic vibe of your vision because it's not only about
It's
it's
not.
about the people too, and that's what innovation really should be about. How do we improve the human experience?
It's kind of my core. I was an athlete in high school and college,
Oh,
and
what
after
was your sport?
college, I was a swimmer. And I coached afterwards as well. So it's part of my core to, have that desire and the people element, the human coaching people on how to do something. And it's one of the things that I absolutely love. So if I can apply it to not just, you know, a workout or something like that, if I can apply it to something that's a little bit more uh, visionary, that sort of thing, then I want to foster that.
Yeah, man, all in. So when you began, where did you first focus your energy and why?
So I first focus in on the curiosity. All right, what can I do? Um, and then there's an iterative stage after that of like that wasn't exactly what I thought, but okay, let's try it out again. And you keep building upon whatever that curiosity was at the beginning into something a little bit more production ready. Um, I was just configuring something this morning that uh, is going to help one of our teams like standardize their process and get them save them about 80% of their time. And it took me like a couple days to iterate on top of it. I reached out to a couple team members, business users, that sort of thing, and got more information. So it wasn't just me, and and we're ready to test after that configuration. So it's one of those quick iterative type of things of like, hey, we don't have to go through a full development lifecycle to put together a proof of concept that could actually make meaningful move of the needle in the direction that we want to go. So it's just kind of like light bulb goes off. Can I do it? All right, let's figure it out. So these ideas that percolate with people, that everybody has them, and for some reason or another they may not feel confident enough to be able to execute on them. It's to you're asking previously about like what made me start. It's the curiosity, but then also the curiosity that says the possibility can happen at the same time.
Well, I love what you're building here because curiosity when we look at AI as a capability and a tool set, it is a tool for curious minds. And it's
Mm-hmm.
different from other technology tools that we've used in the past. And we have to think different. But the other thing is you're kind of building almost like a flywheel. Confidence is going to continue to compound as you allow people to kind of get into that discovery and experimentation mode, but it's strategically directed. Like, where are those valuable problems to solve? And now we can go from idea or concept to reasonable prototype so fast. Why not? So I love how you're thinking about it. Speaking of thinking, um, Can you describe a moment when the complexity of the work may have forced you to rethink your approach and what changed as a result?
One of the things that I'm struggling with right now is, why do I have to? I don't have to think in such a structured way anymore, which is both a benefit and a detraction at the same time, because I also come from a background of statistical thinking with machine learning and that sort of thing, where like you need the proof in order to say that this is the result that you're looking for. And um, but for some things, I don't necessarily need to tackle everything the way I used to, where I used to have a structured data set in a certain time in order to present the result. Now I can have the ability to process unstructured data in a way that gives me the same type of parameter. So let's say I have a dozen different parameters that I'm looking for. The underlying structure of that data could be completely different, but I can have red light, green light, yellow light type of stoplight protocol on top of it to essentially present the parameter result instead of all of the information that you would have had to process. So essentially what that does is the 80% of what you don't need to think about, you don't have to. And the 20% that you need to, you can then focus on instead. And for somebody that gets excited about a thing like a squirrel, it allows me to take that time and then not get distracted by, going down a rabbit hole that may not result um, in the answer that I'm putting.
I want to
So
double
it
click on
helps
that because I
focus.
think you just hit on one of the challenges of our day. It is so easy to get caught up in hype and flashy objects and squirrels and go down that rabbit hole of distraction. But I think that the key that you're talking about is the discernment to know what are the 80% of things I don't need to think about now because I understand what this technology is capable of.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm willing to change how I think about it so that I can focus on the 20% that matters. And wisdom is knowing where that focus needs to be placed. And I think that folks who figure that out, that's the edge today.
Even if I flip it on its head and I only remove 20% out of what I need to focus on a daily basis, that's still an additional 20% that opens up for me to focus on what matters.
And is it wild that it's about like, what can we subtract from what we're doing?
Instead of having to do more all the time.
Yeah. And also like as we're redefining the world of work, I think value is also starting to be redefined, because there's work that the machine can do now and it makes sense for the machine to do it. And then making sure that we understand where is the place where humans bring the most value in that process makes a huge difference. So Steve, what assumptions, beliefs, or habits did you personally have to release to make meaningful progress in this initiative?
Did I have to change anything? No, but like my personal beliefs are, we're born to learn, and that engages that level of curiosity. And I think born to learn is that we continue to grow and develop over time. And if we don't exercise those muscles, they start to atrophy. And like even with my parents, as they get older, they try to still stay engaged with all of the things that are out there. So this thought of born to learn is like, I don't know everything. Some people are more focused on being able to process credit or do documentation or right. Like, for example, I was terrible at accounting. I can do it. You just don't want me to. I can write code, but there are some people that it is their genius. It's their gift that they have, and it is not necessarily mine. So that the ability to hypothesize the art of the possible is great. But then like where I feel like I have a strength is the ability to see how that can be applied. Like, how do we get there? Okay. So yes, you have an idea. All right, these are the steps that we need to take. These are the questions that we need to ask of ourselves. And again, it's like not one person has all of the answers. And if they do, they have more delusions of grandeur than I have, which I don't. But the like one step each like day gets you further. And at the beginning of the conversation, you're asking like what appealed to me about the opportunity set at North Mill. Back in Q4 of last year, I didn't want to upset like how people were working, but we basically put together, if we revise the process to understand ownership, and we took these steps to add to documentation in this way, we can actually transform ourselves. And at the time, there was a wonder, and people didn't realize that, I'm not making these leaps forward in what I'm requested to do. I just it was over in an email, and I have to put it in where somebody else can see it. And just those small tweaks to how we're operating made these giant leaps to where in Q1 we delivered like three times more bug fixes within a certain period of time than we did previously. So like that operational velocity just literally flipped on a switch by making a small tweak of what everybody was already doing.
I love that. It's those small shifts applied consistently that can really lead to tremendous momentum.
Well, then being able to measure it at the same time too. Like, can I measure change? And how, if you're walking into a change set that you're looking to be able to deliver impact, you then have your results that you're looking for as you start.
Yes. Well, that actually is a really important thing a lot of folks skip. Making sure that we have a shared definition of what success looks like and how we measure progress or recognize progress. Otherwise, it's just kind of ambiguous, and
right.
That does not energize a team.
I had a business partner that always was outcome based. He was like, all right, so what's the outcome that we're driving for? And he always brought it up every single meeting. And it was one of those things that I now take not for granted, but to heart, that anything that you should work on should be worth something to someone.
Absolutely.
And even if it's a little bit for yourself too, that's okay. You can be selfish sometimes, but also what is the outcome that you're driving for? And is it professional, personal, company-wide, for a group, whatever it is? Like, think about what the measures are for the outcome.
And I love the way that you're helping people connect the dots between what they're doing and the meaning and purpose. Because back to your point earlier, like the humans in this matter, and that's a part of developing the humans. When there's a great purpose that you can get behind, it's a lot easier to put energy into it. So, once you recognize the complexity of what you were dealing with, what changed about how you made decisions, deployed resources, or involved stakeholders in it?
Well, first and foremost, one of the things that I'm focused on right now for that structural change is to actually clear the board of what people wanted previously. So there's still a little bit of that lingering piece that is a little bit of an anchor.
Mm-hmm.
But on the flip side, the possibility then opens up of, hey, can I have 10% of my time to be able to have these inspirational projects or something like that? And it was one of my longer term strategic initiatives for this year to be able to open up that 5 to 10% of additional time for people, because I remember reading back in the aughts that Google had that 20%
Yeah.
And that's how they came up with Gmail and Google Docs and all of these other initiatives too. And if you give people space, that they're still delivering impact for the organization, but if you give them space to focus on what they like to do, then you can get a different outcome than previously of like me dictating something to them, because you have to have a certain level of trust.
This is actually something I talk about in my book too, is just that, you can't be in expansive, creative, future shaping mode if the only thing you're focused on is the fires of day to day. You actually have to make space to get into that zone. And so few leaders do it. I'm so glad to hear that you're actually helping people to make the time to make that happen. It's going to lead to such great results.
In each group that I lead, we have smaller breakout sessions on a weekly basis to talk through what people are doing, how they can improve themselves, that sort of thing. So it's not always the task.
Mm-hmm. So cool.
Not so reactive.
And it is really powerful to learn in community that way. I mean, back to your point, that we're born to learn. You're creating the environment for that to continue happening. So, Steve, as you look ahead, what feels most critical to get right next?
I don't think it has to be right.
Oh, say more.
We can make mistakes. We can be iterative with some of these projects. One of the things that I had to change from a cultural shift perspective at North Mill was like the idea of a finite project. Like, what does an MVP look like? And can I get something in my end users' hands in order for them to be more functional than what they have today? It's the whole concept of, well, why do I need a Cadillac when all I needed was shoes? So we need to be able to get them to walk or bike or like be able to make that incremental progress of momentum first. And I don't have to get it completely right the first time. Now, that is for some things. For other things, when like we are a broker for focused company, any engagement with our partners that we have out there, any engagement with our borrowers, anything that has to deal with PII, that has to be right. But I don't have to be right all the time.
Well, yeah. So the thing to get right is the wisdom to discern when the stakes are high versus when it's okay to be flexible and iterate. And it sounds like it's a culture and a guiding principles thing that you're really working on to create the conditions for continued momentum. Okay. I can't believe how fast our conversation went, but
sorry.
We're already, speaking of speed, we're a little lightning round. So these are just like short, top of mind responses, no overthinking. So fill in the blank. Long-term relevance requires blank.
Like the openness to a possibility.
Ooh,
so being flexible.
Love it. What one word best describes what this work has demanded of you?
Creativity.
Yes.
Just having an imagination at all.
Yep. So a signal or shift that you believe leaders are underestimating right now?
I am concerned with the augmentation of people's capabilities, that we are going to have a void in backfill of talent and the development of talent 5 to 10 years from now. It is one of those things that I feel like there may be a gap coming.
Yeah, I think we have a cliff coming within the next 5 years because we were blowing out the entry level where
we need more entry level. And I get 3 interns this summer, and I want to foster their affinity to asset finance.
Awesome.
I do.
So looking back, Steve, what do you wish someone had told you before you started?
Nothing specific. I want people to be inspired for like the openness of the idea and not say no. So it's my job to be able to foster that. As a leader, I don't feel like it's somebody telling me what to do anymore. It's being able to share. So
to our listeners, thank you so much for joining us today. If you're serious about shaping the future inside your organization, I encourage you, check out my book, Enter the Tomorrow Zone. And if it sparks ideas or reveals gaps worth exploring, you can reach out to us at tomorrowzone.io. We'd welcome the conversation. Thanks again for listening. Like, subscribe, share it with a friend if you find value here, and stay curious. Choose to make awesome happen.